Metroid. Hi, my name is Pat. I just watched the Nintendo Direct a little bit ago, like earlier today, and I just wanted to do a developed discussion now that I've had more time to look over some of the official dates and see some things that I missed during the thing, and also just a chance to talk about it without moving on to the next game, because holy crap, they kept going. There's a lot of stuff released, and I got a lot of stuff to talk about. I gotta start with Metroid. It's not the first thing in the Direct. I gotta start with Metroid. There's a new Metroid.
But today, we'd like to introduce another new entry in the Metroid franchise. Please take a look.
Metroid Dread. Now, if you know me, you might know I'm a fan of Metroid. But also, if you are a Metroid fan, a longtime veteran Metroid fan, you may have heard, like, around 16 years ago about news of a game called Metroid Dread coming out. Well, guess what? It's out, apparently. Nobody thought that game was still in development, but here we are. It's out. It's crazy. Basically, it's a 2D Metroid game, which is exciting. I was honestly really hoping for Metroid Prime 4. I personally have a little bit more of attachment to the 3D games, the Prime games specifically, but that's okay. We'll still wait. Metroid's Metroid, right? And this game looks fantastic. Some of the things that I'm already super excited about is the fact that it's going a little bit further away from the Metroid universe we kind of already know. One thing I've been a big advocate about ever since I started replaying the Metroid games is just, it'd be nice to not have to fight Ridley every game, and like, you know, space pirates and Metroids and all that other cool stuff. It's all very neat in the Metroid universe, but I'm so excited to venture further from that kind of enemy base and seeing new types of enemies, even if they are just robots and maybe relatively less inspired than the aliens or something like that, just from visual of what we've seen so far, right? Ultimately, it's the gameplay of Metroid that's super fun, and I'm super excited to see this kind of gameplay that's in a world outside of what we've already seen, you know? Don't get me wrong, like I said, love Metroid, love the enemies, love space pirates, love everything about it, love Ridley, love Crate, like all that stuff, I love it, but it's so nice to finally venture from that in not just a new game, but a game that's not a remake, right? It's been quite a while since we've actually seen a continuation of the storyline, especially in this direction, because this game is going to be taking place after Fusion, which means it's going to be the latest game in the series, something we've been waiting for a very long time. So I'm super excited. Again, the name Metroid Dread, it bears so much value to a lot of Metroid fans, even mostly fans that are even older than I am, because I heard about the name, but I never actually looked into like them actually confirming it and theorizing about it while other people have. So it's a good day for the Metroid community, basically. And Prime 4 is still in development. We just gotta wait for it, basically. And they actually have a release date that's pretty close. It's October 8th, which is super cool. I'm so excited. I've been on a Metroid high too. Like, I replayed all the games recently, and I'll be ready when October 8th comes around to buy it day one, obviously. The game looks great. It's made by the same people who made Metroid Samus Returns, which was a fantastic Metroid adaptation. Not even an adaptation, just a fantastic Metroid game, right? And they're doing it again for this, so I cannot be more hyped. It looks fantastic. I'm so excited. October 8th. I'm ready. Okay, the next thing, we'll talk about the very first thing they announced, which is the new Smash Brothers character. They announced Kazuya, I believe is his name, is how you pronounce it. He is a character from Tekken, so basically that's one of the new DLC fighters. I cannot remind myself how many more DLC fighters they have. I think it's just 2, though, and I think Kazuya is one of them. So they're only going to have one more new character after this. I've never played Tekken, but I'm excited to have more fighting game representation. Tekken's obviously huge in the esports community, as well as fighting games in general, so I'm very excited to see more of that represented in Smash. I already have all the people I need in Smash, so, you know, I literally can't be disappointed. Although, if they happen to add Crash or Spyro, I feel like both of them would fit in the universe super well, and I'd appreciate that. But that's about the only thing I could think of. And then they announced something that nobody was expecting, which was Super Monkey Ball is making a bit of a return. It is just a remake of the original 3 games, which means there are going to be some levels I've already played before, especially in Super Monkey Ball 2. But having them all on the Switch is going to be really cool. Super Monkey Ball 2 is the only one I've played of the 3, so I'm very excited to experience all 3 of them. Again, and of course this is great for new people entering the series. Remember, fellas, although we may be excited for new games a lot of times, remakes are not bad things by any stretch of the means. It can be very difficult to hold on to not just the GameCube games originally that had Super Monkey Ball on them, but also GameCubes and controllers and stuff like that. So remaking them for modern systems is going to be great. Switch is also a mobile device, which means we can take it with us and play. The Switch also has gyroscope functionality, so I'm curious if they're going to incorporate that into the game like they did with the mobile versions of Super Monkey Ball games, which granted weren't fantastic, but hey, these are actual games that we've played before, and I know they're going to be good, and I get to play some Monkey Ball games that I never played before. I'm super excited about that. Wasn't expecting. That's set to be released on October 5th, so again, just a little bit before Metroid. I'm going to be buying too many games in October. Speaking of October, on October 29th, there's a new game called Mario Party Superstars coming out. I don't know if I'm going to get this game. When I was first seeing it, I kind of saw it as like DLC, and they were showing off some cool maps that we'd already seen before, but kind of remade in the modern environment, as well as old mini games that were familiar, like the one where you pump up the Bowser head and stuff like that. Like, definitely some iconic Mario Party mini games that they're throwing in. It's looking okay, but then it was announced as its own game, which is honestly very disappointing because I still feel like the Super Mario Party that we have right now is not an entirely complete game with regards to the main way we play Mario Party, which is through that board game mechanics. They added the online to Super Mario Party not too long ago, so I was kind of hoping that maybe this DLC would like kind of finish up the game. That said, if the DLC costed too much money, I wouldn't have partook either way, because I do think the game should have just had more content in when it was first released, and just a little bit more stylized mini games and maps. Like the maps that were shown in this E3 trailer were immediately like, it hit me like boom, oh, these are much more inspired Mario Party maps. Like they look like this. It's got the cake one and it's got the space one, and then it's got like 100 mini games from previous stuff, similar to what like Mario Party Top 100 did. But the fact that it's going to be its own game is kind of disappointing to me. I think what we're going to get is just another lackluster Mario Party game. That's ultimately what it is. But yeah, that's coming out on October 29th. So if any of you guys want it, go for it. October 29th is when it's coming out. Mario Golf Super Rush. Now this has been talked about much before the Direct. It's been hyped up for quite a while now. But I did want to kind of talk about it because I haven't talked about it in an official way very much. But it actually very much excites me. I don't know if I'm going to get it day one per se, but I'll definitely pick it up probably at some point in my lifetime, I'd imagine, because it looks like a lot of fun. And one of my favorite parts about Mario Golf Super Rush is that it's mixing real-time golf play with like the turn-based hitting of pucks or whatnot. That's just an ingenious idea. What a great idea to shape golf that way, because golf, one reason people don't like golf is there's a lot of weight involved. There's so much weight in golf, and not just video game golf, but real golf, right? I happen to really like real golf, but in video game golf, you know, you want to play a game where you wait a lot? Maybe not everybody feels that way. Why don't we just play Smash Brothers? Having everybody run on the course to get to their ball first and have it be more of a speed challenge, so you get to calculate how well you hit the ball, but also how fast you can do it. I love that. What a genius idea. So I do definitely want to get this game at some point. Probably not immediately. I don't have a large friend circle that would want to play this kind of game. And I don't even know what its online functionalities are. But at some point, I would love to give this game a shot. And that's coming out real soon. That's coming out on the 25th of this month. So, heck, maybe by the time this video is out, it'll already be out. I don't know. Anyway, moving on to WarioWare Get It Together. So excited for this. We've not had a WarioWare game in forever. Even Game & Wario on the Wii U, as fun as that game is, I never owned it, but I played on other people's consoles. It definitely was lacking a lot of the multiplayer content that I love about WarioWare. One thing that was great about WarioWare on the GameCube was just the different methods of introducing the mini games. Like there was so many different gimmicks they had to make a competition with mini games sprinkled in, micro games even. And I'm looking forward to this one because it's looking like it's a little bit more of that. I just don't know if it's going to be entirely micro game based or if they're going to have more campaigns set with it. But at the very least, they all look like new mini games, and is very much directly characters interacting with that old school video game style. That they already did with microgames. You know, like WarioWare microgames will have games where you play as Mario and there's like a block and it just says jump. All you do is go up and jump and hit the block, but you got to do it fast, lickety split, because they're shoving it at you. In this one, your actual characters are interacting with old stuff. So they showed the Mario question block, but now you're an actual character inside that NES rendition or GBA rendition or something like that, right? So it looks like a new approach to microgames, and I'm excited to give it a shot. I'm sure a lot of them will be fun. It always is. Nintendo knows how to make party games, typically. And I imagine that's going to be great. Haven't had a WarioWare game in a while. I'm excited for it. And that's coming out on September 10th, a little bit later this year. And then they also announced the return of Advance Wars. Another surprise I don't think anyone was expecting. This is a remake of the original 2 games onto the Switch, which is exciting. I never got a chance to play Advanced Wars, but from what I hear, it's like Fire Emblem, but a much more simpler version. I stopped playing Fire Emblem because I just didn't have the time commitment anymore, so having a simpler version of Fire Emblem is something I look forward to. The only thing that was a little off-putting to me was I distinctly remember Advanced Wars art style and how much I loved it. Just kind of the gritty anime style of it that was translated into a pixel art screen. There was something so epic about it. Like, it felt like epic battles. I'm not really sure if I'm a fan of the new plasticky toy approach. Now, I don't think that's necessarily a bad aesthetic. I think Link's Awakening did that pretty dang well. Where it looks like you're zoomed in on a mini set and there's like blur to set your focus and whatnot, like you're peeking in on something, but you don't really get that vibe from the Advanced Wars. And if you watch it, I'm sure you'll know what I mean. There just seems to be like a lack of detail, and the plasticky ends up just coming off as almost mobile game-esque. And I feel like Advanced Wars kind of deserves more than that, given that it was extremely visually appealing on the GBA titles. So that's the only thing that's off-putting to me, but the actual gameplay itself, it looks like Advanced Wars gameplay. I've only played Advanced Wars like maybe twice or whatnot, so but everybody loves it. I'm sure I would love to play it too. So if I get a chance to pick that one up, I also plan on doing that. And that, of course, is coming out on December 3rd, so that's probably the latest game that I'm talking about that is coming out. And again, I'm not talking about everything here. There's so much more stuff. There was like Danganronpa, I think is how you pronounce it. They announced something about that. Several other RPGs, Mario Rabbids game. Though they all seem fine. I'm either interested or not interested in them, but I just didn't have a lot to contribute to the conversation, so I'm purposely leaving those out. The last thing I want to talk about is all the Zelda stuff they announced right at the end of the Direct. Of course, Breath of the Wild 2 was announced in 2019, that it was in development, and they finally talked more about it in this Direct ever so slightly. There really wasn't much there. But one thing that's very exciting is that they actually showed for the first time some gameplay. And even when the first Breath of the Wild came out, when they were first teasing like tiny bits of the first Breath of the Wild gameplay, there was something so exciting because you see new elements and you're like, I want to know what that is. So they're great at teasing you, even with just the tiniest cuts of footage of gameplay, because there's already things that look so cool. Like there's this one part where Link just flies up to the air and like teleports through the ground and stuff like that. And this whole Skyland area of like floating islands and stuff. It's looking like it's going to be reusing a lot of the world of the original Breath of the Wild, which again, I would definitely prefer a new world. Talon was in chat and he was mentioning how it'd be cool like if you could explore the world but see enough cultural changes after the events of Breath of the Wild, and I entirely agree. The only thing though is that I just don't imagine them being able to make every corner as interesting as it was in the original Breath of the Wild. And that's one of my favorite parts of the original Breath of the Wild, is that it's an open world I wanted to explore every inch of. I absolutely loved just exploring, seeing the new scenery and stuff like that. Now that all the scenery is going to be stuff I've kind of seen before, you have to rely on actual function changes or structural changes inside the scenery. But the problem is that the map is so big, I just can't imagine them being able to make every inch interesting again, which, you know, I was kind of burnt out of open worlds by the time Breath of the Wild came out, and I was astonished by how well it captured me into this world, because I didn't want to leave it. And it's been a while since I felt that way about open world, arguably since Skyrim, which was one of the first open worlds I ever played. And I only was so invested because the open world genre is new. Skyrim's not even super extremely fascinating world to explore every inch of. It's got a lot in it. But all that to say, I just don't know how they're going to change the old scenery to make it look nice, but at least they're also adding some new stuff with the floating islands, and I'm hoping for new. I'm hoping to see for new, because I want to feel that excitement of discovering something new and mind-blowing like I did with Breath of the Wild. Will it live up to the expectations that Breath of the Wild were able to set? Probably not. Breath of the Wild is actually a special case. I understand if you've not played Breath of the Wild and you hear people rave about it all the time, you might be like, oh gosh, again, talking about this Breath of the Wild stuff. But I assure you that there is something special about this game alone, and I think it'd be naive to assume that Breath of the Wild 2 can reach those exact levels of just polish and exquisiteness. It's something special, right? We're not going to get something as special as Breath of the Wild in a very long time. So yeah, basically all that said, I'm excited for it. I love Breath of the Wild. This game looks cool. The gameplay stuff was looking exciting. The new narrative structure is also exciting. I'm excited to see what they do with that. I'm hoping they focus more on the legend, on the narrative, because Breath of the Wild, it kind of took that as a sideline, made gameplay the focus, which is totally fine. But there were so many opportunities to jump off of exciting moments in Breath of the Wild that I wish they did, and hopefully this game goes a little further into it. So that's coming out in 2022. We now have a release date. When the release date is a year, it's typically very, very tentative. For example, Metroid Prime 4 was announced in 2017 to be released in 2018. Come 2021, and we got nothing. We got no gameplay footage, no announcement or anything like that, right? So I wouldn't hold so much weight to that. Breath of the Wild specifically was very prone to being delayed, so Breath of the Wild 2 might also be delayed too. But again, the more time they need to take, the better. It means that's going to end up being a better product, so we can't be too upset about it. Zelda Expansion Pass. So they also announced the Age of Calamity Expansion Pass. I never played Age of Calamity. It just doesn't really seem like something I would play for a very long time, so I've not made the investment. If I find it on sale, I'll definitely pick it up at some point. If I see it like for $30 on eBay or something like that, I would love to pick it up. Even 40 maybe. But it's still a little bit too new for it to get prices that low, and I just don't think it's worth $60 for me yet. I just don't know if I'd like it. Never played any of the Calamity Wars or Hyrule Warrior games. But the other thing they announced was, not announced, but talked a little bit more about Skyward Sword. Pretty much everything we already knew. I think Skyward Sword was ripe for a remake because it had a lot of structural problems as well as control problems. They addressed some of the control stuff. I just don't know if it's going to be necessarily better controls. Using the joystick to move your sword around, I have a hard time picturing that being as intuitive as they promote it. Otherwise, you could do actual motion, which honestly, I was kind of okay with the motion anyway. But the problem is there's some like progression choices that are very bizarre in Skyward Sword, like a severe lack of things to find in the air, reoccurring areas that you go back to, and with some changes granted, but it just sometimes feels like a wild goose chase. You're like, go here, go here, go here, go here, go here, go here, constantly getting on the bird, off the bird, on the bird, off the bird. And it's like, I think it would really need to address some of those to make it a flawless remake. And it's looking like most of the structure of the game is staying the same other than the controls. If the controls are good, I'm happy for them. But like, ultimately, I'm not going to pay $60 to play this game that I played a long time ago. Like, the price is too much. It really is just too much. So if and when it goes down, maybe I'll pick it up again. In the meantime, if I really want to play Skyward Sword again, I'll just boot it up on the Wii, honestly. It's no hassle. But both the Calamity Expansion Pass and Skyward Sword are possibly out now by the time you see this video. I don't know when it's going out. So it's coming out like on like the 16th and like the 17th respectively, I think. Or 18th maybe. I don't know. Basically sometime soon. So it could be out. So if you're interested in those, check it out. I'm probably going to skip them for now. But yeah, those are the main highlights of the Direct. Ultimately, that's a pretty good Direct. Like, this is just the highlights I took out. There was a lot of other stuff mentioned, so, and a lot of other stuff that I'm sure excited other people. So, like, ultimately, pretty dang solid Direct. I don't set my expectations super high for these anymore, but this is probably the best Direct I've had in a while. And it's not just because of Metroid, but let me tell you, that helps. Metroid Dread, 16 years in the making, kind of. I mean, like, wow, who was expecting that? So I'm excited. Looks like a great year for Switch gaming. I got a Switch. I game. I'm a gamer. What can I say? So I'm excited. And I hope that you guys are excited as well. And I hope that you guys also enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you'd like to check out more videos. Pokemon Tier List Part 2 coming soon, hopefully. And in the meantime, I'll see you guys in the next episode. So long.